Yeah, I feel like Coach Decker. Coach Decker already took a shot talking about 50-year-olds, overweight 50-year-olds. So, I mean, I'm not an official, but I'm representing the 50-year-olds. Memphis has really good food. I'm a Louisiana boy. I'm from the South. They have really good food. Went to a great restaurant. Can't say no names because I don't want to pump anybody else up. But, wow, unbelievable. One of the best restaurants I've been to in my life. But anyway, long story short, Lance Guidry, I'm coming from, I guess, Oregon State. I was at LSU last year. I was briefly at Oregon State for about 20 days before I came back to meet Huff. Before LSU, I was at Miami for 2 years. I was at Tulane for about 14 days before Miami, and I was at I was at Marshall with Coach Huff, and so I've actually had the privilege of working with Coach Cramsey at Marshall, and now I'm getting to work with Coach Deck. So they are similar in some ways, but Deck spreads you out a lot more, and it makes it tough putting in a defense. So we've had to adjust, which has been really good because it's hard to adjust to these widespread offenses when you don't go against it a lot. It's not like the option. I'm not saying that, but it just puts things in a different perspective. So I'm excited to go against it because it's going to make us better. We're a 4-down defense. We're mainly nickel defense. Of course, if anybody goes big personnel, we'll jump into 4-3. We'll put another backer in and take out a nickel. So that's kind of what we base out of. Do a lot of different things. We'll play all the zones, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, quarter halves, cover 6. We'll play some man free. We'll play some zero a little bit, and then we'll pressure. We'll pressure with simulated 3s, 2s, just do different things. So going through the fourth quarter, I'm starting to learn the players. Some of them I know came from Southern Miss. A couple of them I actually recruited to Marshall. So it's kind of weird getting back with those guys. But excited to be here and glad to be here and excited to get today started. So any questions?
Start with Landon. Coach Landon Speck going through Memphis. You just mentioned how y'all are based nickel most of the time. We see that more around college football. So from that nickel position, that slot corner spot, what kind of player are you looking for there? And how valuable is that guy to what y'all want to do?
Back when 4-2-5 kind of evolved, it was kind of a hybrid linebacker safety. And now it's become a little bit more probably a good tackling corner. And we have a couple guys. Of course, Ian Foster's a guy who's a really good football player. So you need a guy that can blitz off the edge. You need a guy that can play man-to-man. And he's also tied into the safeties. He's got to know the defense could be able to adjust. So it's a spot that's shouldn't be overlooked, but we try to get a very good tackling corner to play that position. Sir. Man, how you know about the Crow Dome? Yeah. Kevin Foote, yeah. I think it's everything. I always tell people that I am a high school coach that's grown into a college coach, but that's where I cut my teeth. Of course, I GA'd my first year after finishing up at McNeese, and I went and coached high school football for 5 years, 2 years at Leesville High School, and I went to Karen Crow, where they call their stadium the Crow Dome. Really great football players, but I learned how to coach. I learned how to – nobody ever taught me how to recruit. When I went in college and I started recruiting, I'd ask everybody, well, how you recruit? Well, I actually didn't know I was recruiting in high school, being able to relate to players and to parents, because you might have to be one of them's big brother. You might have to be their uncle. You might have to be a daddy figure. You got to talk to everybody in the building, So high school coaching really helped me out with that and just learning how to coach. And when you teach in a classroom, you might be teaching special ed. You could be teaching history, and you're teaching guys, girls, different levels, and you just learn how to break things down. So I really cut my teeth on knowing how to teach at that level. Once you start getting in college, then you're learning what's different. Like, there's more things you have to teach. The game is a little different, but it's still teaching. You have to be able to teach. So me being a health and physical education like Coach Huff with a minor in special ed, I think it really helped me out through my years of coaching high school, college football, and the rest. So.
Coach, hey, Greg Hansen, sideline reporter for
Mm-hmm.
football and Sports 56 Radio. In this conference, there's so much diversity with offense.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the quickest tempo teams, Army, Navy, the option. What are those challenges that we're going to do, especially with a new bunch of guys, new position here at Memphis, going into a season knowing that every week
Well, our offense provides the tempo. It provides the fast-going offense, the spread-out stuff, which is good. We get to go against it. And I remember when I was with Coach Huff back at Marshall, we was playing Navy, and we played them the first game of the year. So what we did was in the springtime, actually before spring, we actually took a couple periods that we would work on them. And when we got spring football, we had a couple days we'd work on them. Through the course of the summer, we would have practices on them. And then we went to fall camp, we did the same thing so that when we get ready for that game, we were prepared. All right. So we're going to play Army and Navy. So we're kind of doing the same thing. We already had 2 practices, not really a practice, but kind of how we're going to, the philosophy of it, how we're going to fit things, because it's just so different. College football, you're always playing vertical on defense. Now when you play those teams, you got to be able to play lateral because, you got to dive, quarterback pitch. It's just different. So you got to get them ready, and they really won't be ready until after probably the first quarter of football because they got to get adjusted to the speed of the game. So it's very challenging, but my high school ways, we'd face wing T, we'd face power I, we'd face 10 personnel people, you face split back veer, and maybe the triple with the, double slot. So it's not really what I know, though. It's what they know. So I have to make sure our guys are prepared, and it's a challenge, but we'll try to get them ready at different times in the season so when we hit those games, at least they have a background of it. Hey, how you doing?
When you look at what your scheme is and what you're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
when you're diving into the roster, how do you feel about how their skill sets match what you want to do as a coordinator?
Well, I think the best thing, at different times in your career, you kind of cycle yourself. You cycle yourself as a position coach, a coordinator, a head coach. I've done it a few times, to where I've been a coordinator 2-3 times. I'll step back as an assistant. That's what I was able to do last year. I was at LSU. I was an analyst. I coached the outside backers. And I was able to look at what I'd done in the past, what we were good at, what I would have done differently, and then, okay, what are you doing, Blake Baker? I was able to really look at what we were doing at LSU, and I was able to pick his brain a little bit and just study other people around the country, because when you're not getting ready and trying to plan for offense, you got a lot of time on your hands. I went from coaching all 11 to one guy. So I was able to kind of look at some things and how I would do things differently. And then so I feel like I'm fresh again, so I'm excited about it. Our players, I really don't know what we're best at yet, but I have an idea because when I left Marshall, Coach Seymour kept the terminology the same, and they played certain defenses, and he did it at Southern Miss as well. So when I came back here at Memphis, we have some of those Marshall guys that were at Southern Miss and Southern Miss guys, so they know a lot of terminology. I know a couple things that we can do because they're used to doing it. So there is some carryover, which is awesome. But I think we'll be able to do a lot of things, but, most of the time it's how good you are in the secondary. If you're able to play man-to-man, you won't play man-to-man. If not, then you got to fit things a different way and maybe give them some relief and some cover 3 and just different things like that. So I'll know through the course of spring what we're best at, and then always looking at the other side of the ball, who we're playing against, do we match up? So really don't know yet, but I got an idea.
John Maddox on 3 Memphis. Nice to meet you, Coach. Who are some coaches that have influenced you, like in terms of schematic? What are some coaches maybe we've heard of that you'll see some?
I probably had the most growth. First of all, doing it myself and just sample. The good thing is when you're on the lower levels, you can sample with things and it's not a big of a risk because there's not a room full of people like y'all that are judging, right? So you're able to sample with a lot of things. So I had growth at different positions for us going from high school to college, being a coordinator. But when I went to Miami of Ohio, I was with a guy named Carl Reese. They called him Bull Reese. He just passed away this year. He was at Texas, LSU, different places. I learned a lot of things from him. I always studied Nick Saban and what they did in 3x1. I'd worked their camps. So I got some of those things, but really not, that much. And then this past year with Coach Baker, kind of the things that he was doing, where he learned from Manny Diaz, and he was also with Muschamp. So it's always kind of now with PFF, you can watch everybody on defense. Like, I've done some things in the past that were really good, that were innovative and creative, and a year later, people are doing the exact same thing. I'm like, hold up, How are they doing that? Sometimes we arrive at the same place defensively, mentally, but sometimes they saw you on film and they start doing the exact same things you were doing. Coach Deck talking about plays, they want to be good at 3 plays, but you see there's something that complements you, and then you start borrowing from other teams. I think defense is like that. Nobody's recreated the wheel. We all just kind of borrow from each other, but within your system and what it's needed and what you need it for. So that's about it.
You hinted at it, what you do best, so I'm curious, is there a position room you feel best about, or is there one you?
Well, my baby is safety. That's my baby because I was a safety. But really from backers back, I'm more of a back 7 type guy. So I can coach backers. I can coach safeties. I coach corners for 3-4 years. But I like being right down the middle of the defense, either linebackers or safeties, because that's where the brain trust of the defense is. That's where all the checks got to be made. So those guys have to think like a coach. So you really want to be in position to talk to those guys every day. So this year I'm working with the linebackers. I got a really good safeties coach and Coach Bowman. We were together at Marshall. So that's a plus. Coach Mathis coaches the D-line, which we were together at West Kentucky. Torrance Brown coaches the end. We were together at Marshall. So Coach Duffy at corners is the only one who I haven't worked with, but he's been at Oklahoma State. He's been at a lot of good places. So I feel really good about our defensive staff. How you doing?
You talked about your 20 days at Oregon State, and obviously there was another person in this position before you ended up being left. Just for you personally, what have the last, 3 months been like?
Wow. Well, I left LA. Well, I'm a Louisiana boy, right? I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, right by it, a little town called Welch. My wife was happy being back in Louisiana. We was at LSU. I was an analyst. My daughter goes to law school at Loyola in New Orleans. And when I told her we were going to Corvallis, Oregon, she cried every day. Of course, Coach Shepard was a graduate assistant of mine at WKU who became the head coach there from Alabama. So I was excited to get there and work with him, but my wife went up there and it was raining every day and she cried and cried and cried. So funny story. One of the GAs on staff said, "Coach, did you see what happened in Memphis?" I'm like, "No, what happened?" He said, "The defensive coordinator just left, went to Georgia Tech." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm going to do it again," because it happened at Tulane. I had just taken the Tulane job and Miami called. And when money calls, you got to go, right? I mean, you're talking about doubling and tripling your salary. You're talking about a country boy that's never made over $50,000 in high school or at McNeese, right? So, of course, that happened, but I'm like, here we go again, man. I said, "Huff, I want you to call, but I don't because I don't want to do it to Coach Shep." And when he called, I'm like, "Oh, Lord, here we go again." So he said, "Hey, you signed your contract?" I said, "Yeah, I signed my contract, blah, blah, blah. How much is the buyout?" I told him, "Oh, that's nothing. We got that." He says, "Are you going to come?" I said, "Well, because your wife knows my wife really well. If I said no, she would probably find out anyway and then I'd get a divorce. And I've been married 33 years. I ain't willing to risk a divorce. You got me?" So I had to go into that office with Coach Shepard and tell him I hate it so much. But Memphis fits me. It fits my family. I'm a Louisiana boy, straight down 55, get straight to, I-10. Hook a right and go to Lake Charles, or go left and go to New Orleans. So it fits us. It fits me. And again, the food is really good here, y'all. And they have a crawfish fest. Are you kidding me? If y'all know how to peel crawfish, because I'm an expert now. Y'all think y'all might know. But if you really want to know how to peel crawfish, I'm your guy. All right? Anybody else? I don't know if I can say that. Can I say what restaurant? Folks Folly. Quick story, then I got to get out of here because the other people want to get it. We started off with a salad. I had the Caesar salad. My wife had got like a house salad, right? From the salad on, my wife took my Caesar salad after she ate all of my Caesar salad. The best Caesar salad I ever ate without shrimp and chicken on it. Then we went to the appetizers. Oh my God, the crab cakes, the calamari. We had some, what they called them, fish, catfish, beignets, but I mean, whatever. Then she had the filet and I had the beef tenderloin with redfish with etouffee over the top. And I know etouffee, y'all. That etouffee seemed like it came from Lafayette. The food is really good there. So I'm pumping up Folks Folly. Folks Folly, I want an NIL deal right now. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much.